Billboard's number 20.
Here now is a song that debuted higher in the National Top 40 this week than any other, up from number 44 last week. Here's Bread, and their hit song is called Make It With You. Make It With You by a group called Bread.
Casey's Coast to Coast.
And now it's time for the new number one song in the 50 states.
Billboard's number 1.
The group is a relatively new one, and this is their first record to make the charts. Their lead singer's Jim Griffin, but Jim doesn't do the vocal on this one. Done by David Gates, the leader of the group called Bread. Hey! There it is, the brand new number one song in America. It's done by Bread, and it's called Make It With You. Well, we've just heard the 40 biggest selling hits in America this week, and you've heard them on American Top 40. My name's Casey Kasem, and we do our countdown every week at this time. Our list of the Top 40 comes from Billboard's weekly tabulation of the country's most popular songs, compiled from retail record sales. American Top 40 is a Watermark production, and we pre-record the show in Hollywood. I hope you'll join me next week, and we'll do it all over again. Count down the 40 biggest hits in America. Till then, keep your feet in the ground and keep reaching for the stars. And the countdown rolls on. Larry Nectar was born in Bell, California. Mike Botts, Sacramento, California. James Griffin, Memphis, Tennessee. David Gates, Tulsa, Oklahoma. They make up Bread at number 25.
All the sweet things they can find.
Moving up 5 this week to 25. That was Bread and Diary.
Casey's Coast to Coast.
This next song in our countdown is by a group who had it all happen very easily. The two members who started it had been earning nice livings as studio musicians here in L.A. Well, one day 3 years ago, they happened to work a session together. Jim Griffin producing, David Gates arranging. And they found they had a great rapport, which led to a jam session, which led to cutting a demo tape on their own material, because they were both interested mainly in songwriting. Next thing anybody knew, Elektra Records had signed a brand new four-man group that had never before made a record together, or an appearance. Within a year, they had written and recorded their first album, and released their first single, Make It With You, which made it with everybody. And so has every single they've released since then. At number 30, here's the 10th Top 40 hit in a row by Bread. That moved 10 big notches this week, second week on American Top 40. Bread and Sweet Surrender.
Number 29.
This is Casey Kasem in Hollywood, and the countdown doesn't stop until we get to number 1. Here's a group whose entire chart life has been in the 70s. They've hit with It Don't Matter to Me, If, Baby I'ma Want You, and Everything I Own. But this one was the first and the biggest for the group that's number 30 among the top artists of the 70s.
Hey,
You're hearing great music by the greatest artists of the 70s. That was Make It With You by Bread, and they come in at number 30.
Casey's Coast to Coast.
This is Casey Kasem in Hollywood on American Top 40, and now I have a song by a man who really knows the power of a love song. You see, back in the late 50s in Tulsa, Oklahoma, when David Gates was a cheerleader at Will Rogers High School, he had a crush on a girl named Jo. Well, Jo was a cheerleader at the rival high school, Central, which by itself wouldn't have stopped David, but she had a steady boyfriend and wasn't interested in any extracurricular activity. Well, David was a musician, and he had a pretty good group, so he wrote a song addressed to Jo, telling her how he felt about her. The group recorded it, and they asked the local stations to play it, and a couple of them did, not because of the romance gimmick, but because they liked the song. Well, Jo heard it, got the message, and left her boyfriend for David. A year and a half later, David and Jo were married. Now, 15 years after that, they're still married. And they've got 4 beautiful kids. Do you wonder why David has a song out now called Never Let Her Go? It's number 29 this week. David Gates. Never Let Her Go. Written, sung, and produced by David Gates. At number 29 this week in the countdown.
Casey's Coast to Coast.
This next song in the countdown is by a group that holds an interesting record. The group has broken up for a longer period of time than any other successful group in the rock era and then reunited to hit the top 40 again. They were 4 studio musicians who debuted in 1970 with a big #1 song called Make It With You. They called themselves Bread, and they were a big success on records and in concerts for 3 years. Then in 1973 they separated and went their own ways. But 3 years after that, in 76, Larry Knechtel, Mike Botts, James Griffin, and David Gates are Bread again. And their first single in reunion debuts in the top 40 this week. At number 37, Bread and Lost Without Your Love. Bread at number 37, debuting with Lost Without Your Love, as the countdown continues.
The hits from coast to coast.
Now on American Top 40, I have the current smash by a group whose keyboard man, Larry Knechtel, once played on an average of 400 to 500 sessions a year. And during his career as a session musician, he's played piano and organ on some of the greatest hits of the rock era. Pop classics like Mrs. Robinson, MacArthur Park, and all of the Byrds' hit songs, including Mr. Tambourine Man. Also, all of the Mamas and Papas hits, most of Neil Diamond's hit songs, including I Am I Said, and the #1 smash that earned Larry Knechtel a Grammy Award for his arrangement of Bridge Over Troubled Water. After he joined the group Bread several years ago, Larry Knechtel continued to do sessions for other artists. But he cut down on the number of outside jobs that he took and devoted more time to the group. This week, the latest hit by Bread, featuring the keyboard work of master pianist Larry Knechtel, is up to number 10 on American Top 40, and it's titled Lost Without Your Love. David Gates and Bread on American Top 40, first week in the top 10 at number 10 with Lost Without Your Love.
Casey's Coast to Coast.